Um, so I don't expect anybody to be watching it, but this is just a very, very short test for me to see if I can actually do this thing. Will my computer work? Will my microphone work? What's the lighting like? Terrible. How do I look? Old. How do I feel? Strangely calm. Um, right. Well, this is a very short stream, like I said. I had a person drop in. Whoa. Do you know what? I'm going to see if my friend Kat is on. Well, at least I had somebody in for a while. Okay, this is three people. Good Lord. Hello, everybody. Would you care to introduce yourself in the chat so I can get to see who's actually here? Um, Absolutely not. Anyway, thank you for those people who did show up. I am grateful to you. I'm sorry there's nothing more entertaining, but this is actually just an initial test to test out the Claire, hello, and thank you very much. How are you doing? If this if I do go ahead and start live streaming, I'll be talking about horror. I'll be talking about books and movies and art. So probably bring in HR Geiger. Busy lambing. Oh my God, that's so much more interesting than me talking about horror. How many how many of your sheep are pregnant? Because I'm just suddenly remembering how many horror films there are about sheep. There's the one called The Lamb, which is basically about a lamb that gives birth to a half human, half lamb creature, which I haven't seen yet but intend to. And then there's Black Sheep, isn't there? I think that's an Australian sheep horror movie. And yes, not that many. But I mean, if you think of what there could possibly go wrong, the I probably shouldn't say this as Claire is actually helping sheep give birth to lambs. Welcome, Wayne. Thank you very much. 150 pregnant sheep. Whoa, that is amazing. That is amazing. You must be so busy. There's I'm supposed to be talking about about horror. I'll be talking about books, I'll be talking about movies, I'll be talking about 30 coins, as I'm sure some of you will guess. I can't not talk about 30 coins. And I'll be talking at some point, possibly even music. My favourite band, Bauhaus, they had a really scary stage presence. And and well, it's nice to know that some people have shown up. And Killer Rabbit's Night of the Lepus. Oh my God, I love that film. It is so bizarre. If anybody said, they're going to make a film about giant bunnies, but the first time you see a bunny in Night of the Lepus, giant, and it's chewing on a human arm, that really scared me. Really sort of turned me over. Unfortunately, after that, it gets a bit silly, and you've got these giant bunnies bounding over the Australian outback, and that's my cat Minnie. She's pretty scary too, and yeah, then it gets kind of silly, but it's good for a laugh. And so, Night of the Lepus, dig it out if you're feeling bored or depressed. It'll cheer you right up. Very silly but fun, which reminds me of Arkham Asylum Soul Collector. If you want to see the silliest movie ever, and what is interesting about Arkham Asylum's Soul Collector is it starts off, they're trying to make a serious, scary, found footage horror movie. But the budget is really, really, really small. And there comes a point where you realize that the producer stroke director have given up and they're just throwing everything in but the kitchen sink, including claymation. And the few people I know who have seen it tells me it's a terrible movie and I've got terrible taste in movies. But I don't care. I like it. It's fun and it's definitely non-PC. Claymation. Um, four people. It's more than I expected, a lot more than I expected. And thank you for saying the lovely things about my voice. I might be reading snippets from work that is in copyright that I haven't had the author's permission to record. There's a lot of things I would love to record completely in its entirety, but I actually can't, not without permission. But under fair use, I can read small parts of these books, of these stories, so that you can get some idea of what they're like and whether or not you want to buy the whole book yourself, which I'll enjoy doing that. I'll definitely do some Thomas Ligotti. Might even do a bit of Clive Barker. You never know. I won't do any Stephen King. I'm not very keen on Stephen King at the moment. I was when I was a lot younger. Praveen B. Lamb to the Slaughter Rolled Dahl. Thanks for the tip, Praveen. I'll look that one up. Because, yes, of course, I could read a little Roald Dahl and a little Agatha Christie. A lot of people don't realise that Agatha Christie wrote some horror stories. The Seance is probably her most famous one. She is a natural born star, this one. She's a natural born star. Her name is Minnie, and she is a moocher. I love her anyway. So, I did actually write to the Agatha Christie estate asking for permission to record the seance, and I was ignored because I should imagine the Agatha Christie estate gets literally thousands of requests. Um, yeah, so at some point I'll see if I can get guests on because I'm very, very new to this. So there's an awful lot for me to learn. And so I'm looking at the various podcasting software. Lord Dunsany. I'll give Lord Dunsany a go. Maybe I think it's called Two Bottles of Relish. I really tried to like Dunsany for H.P. Lovecraft's sake because, H.P. Lovecraft, in spite of all of his faults, is an author I absolutely adore. And reading Lovecraft as a child, as a young teenager, started reading him when I was 10 or 11, got me through some hard times. So, for Lovecraft's sake, I really, really tried to like Lord Dunsany. I just couldn't. But I might read a little bit of him out anyway, just because people want me to. Um, I draw the line at Robert E. Howard. At least I draw the line at Robert E. Howard for now, maybe at a future date. Um, there's a channel called SFF Audio, which I'm sure some of you may have heard of. And this gentleman has amazing insight into what is and what is not copyrighted. And turns out that there's a lot of American horror, science fiction, fantasy, crime magazines from the early 20th century where all the stories in it are, in fact, out of copyright. Something to do with the American copyright laws that I don't understand, in which only the authors were supposed to renew the copyright at some point and they didn't do so. So there's a huge collection that SFF Audio turned me on to of stories that I could read. Office Cat, another mini. It might turn out to be a cat podcast. You never know. She has her own ideas about things. Um, so I'm not really sure about this setting because I'm actually in bed at the moment. Fibromyalgia, bedridden. Well, not completely, but try to move into the living room perhaps so I can get a better background for things. And then in time progress to more complicated software and then hopefully be able to get some guests on, um, which would be very enjoyable if I could do it. I've been quite rewarded by how many people have shown an interest in this. And considering that I've had at one point 5 people show up without me even posting a link to it is, um is absolutely thrilling and heartening, and, if I ever do progress to the stage where I can have guests and, interview people, I've already got a volunteer, so that would be lovely. Um, anyway, I wasn't actually expecting anybody to show up. This was just going to be a very short technical run to see if I could actually use the tech, and, just thank you to everybody who showed up, and I'm going to end the stream very shortly. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, that would be wonderful. Hello, colleges and cannibals. Yes, and one point I've got to do H.P. Lovecraft's Dreamlands. I haven't done Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath yet, and that's quite magical. I think he does repeat himself a bit. And anyway, to everybody, thank you so much for showing up. Please keep an eye on my YouTube channel. I'm also on Twitter as MorganScorpion, and I'm hoping to do a proper live stream on Saturday. And until then, thank you everybody very much for showing up. Hope to see you again, and also hope to be a bit more organized next time. Thank you very much.